I'll take the foie gras now. I want 2 foie gras. I'm ready for the rabbit as well, please. Give me the rabbits. Take the rabbits to 36. That is a perfect scallop. That's gorgeous. And you can take the rabbits to 6 when you're done. Do you have the salads? I'll take 2 beef salad right now, please. I will sauce. Thank you. Oh, these are gorgeous. Hey, this is the apotheosis of a tossed salad. Beef, beautiful bitter greens, sharp lettuces, horseradish vinaigrette spooned on. You know, I love to make a tossed salad. It's very simple, very spontaneous. But you know what? Sometimes it's fun to make a composed salad. They look pretty. They're not that hard. Today, I'm going to show you the classic composed salad when we start the kitchen sessions. The reason I love this dish so much, it was one of the very first dishes I ever learned how to make in a restaurant. And so I guess I have a little bit of a sentimental attachment to it. I also love it because of the flexibility of the way it can be put together. It's a Cobb salad. Now, what in the world is a Cobb salad? Well, it gets its name from putting the ingredients together in rows, Cobb rows, corn cob rows on the plate. And that's the whole idea, is lining the ingredients up. This is a composed salad, which means you lay things out as opposed to tossing them together. We're going to start by making a vinaigrette. I'm going to take some lemon juice, squeeze it through a strainer just to make sure I don't have any seeds in here. And we'll mix in a little bit of olive oil and some chive and shallot. So a lemon, oniony kind of vinaigrette. Real simple, straightforward flavor, easy enough to do. If the olive oil's too strong, sometimes people don't like straight olive oil, it's possible to add a touch of grapeseed oil or canola oil to cut it a little bit, which is what we'll do here. And we'll add our chive. Really, any herbs will work just fine. Kind of like to get the onion theme going with chive and shallot. So a little mince of shallot. And it's also possible to use roasted shallot if you want something a little more caramelized, a little sweeter. Salt, pepper, and we'll taste this just to make sure we've got the right mixture of flavors here, the right amount of acid and everything. Let's add just a touch more oil. We don't need too much. And I think this will be ready to go. So we'll set that on the side. Now, with a Cobb salad, the classic combination of ingredients include chives, blue cheese, chicken, avocado, tomato, hard-boiled eggs, and bacon. In this case, I've actually got some things that are left over from last night's dinner, including a piece of beef, which it's just cold now, so I'll just cut it up as I go, and we'll put this together. I'm going to start by using some green onions or some scallions rather than chives. These were on the grill. I saved them. I had a few left over, so they'll be included perfectly in this preparation. Cut them up, bite-sized pieces, or really any size piece you like. Now keep in mind, we don't necessarily have to spend all this time and prepare these ingredients. I could just as easily toss them together in a big bowl, but sometimes by merely spending an extra 5 minutes, you can put together a dish with a beautiful presentation. And that's really what we have right here, to show you that a presentation isn't that difficult necessarily. It's actually pretty simple if you just spend the extra time to do it. And the other beauty of that is we showcase the beauty of these ingredients. I mean, the beef is so beautiful. It's cooked rare to medium rare. The beautiful color of the green onions, the beautiful tomatoes, everything is so nice. I want to show it off. I want you to be able to see it when you have a chance to eat this. So we're going to cut the meat into a cube, a large dice, whatever you want, or we could cut it into julienne strips. So we've got our beef here. Put it back in our bowl. And we've got tomatoes that have been cut here, yellow and red tomatoes, beautiful organic tomato. We have some avocado. Here's a great trick for removing the pit. You've probably seen this, but if you haven't, just twist off like such. And then to get the center out, take it out like that. Very, very simple. And now we're able to cut a few chunks roughly the size of the tomato. Just kind of cut some wedges here, and then from here we'll peel the skin off and go ahead and dice the avocado into larger pieces. Remember, keep in mind, you know, there are no hard and fast rules here. Maybe there are some ingredients that you like more than others. Maybe there are some that you don't have as part of your normal diet. You either accentuate what you like more or just eliminate something altogether. We're going to just cut this into large pieces, real simply. And we'll put this back in our bowl, and we'll be able to plate this as we go. The next little fun twist is using a quail egg, a hard-boiled quail egg, rather than a normal hard-boiled egg. Well, they're not so hard to find. You can go to the butcher shop, ask the butcher for these. You can go to a supermarket, and if they don't have them there, and I've seen them in some mainstream supermarkets, you could probably get these ordered pretty simply. They actually take a lot less time to poach than a normal egg, so now we're just going to cut these up. I could leave them whole if I want, I suppose, but I think it's fun to cut them into small pieces, halve them or quarter them. That's what we're going to do here, is we're going to cut them into little quarters, bite-sized pieces. Look at how pretty those are. Those are just so nice and beautiful, little miniature eggs. And I think it's always fun if you can show people something that maybe they haven't seen before. And you'd be amazed at how the kind of reaction you'll get from something like this. So we cut up our eggs, and we'll put these on the side. Just slide them on over here. And I'm keeping all my ingredients separate because at the last moment I'm just going to lay them out corn cob style on a bed of salad greens and have this marvelous salad, which is perfect for a luncheon or even as a dinner item. The great thing about it is it's a meal in itself. And sometimes when you're cooking, making a dinner, making a meal, you want to keep in mind, you don't necessarily have to have a salad course, a meat course, another course. You can have one thing, one plate of food. And this kind of touches all the bases. We've got a salad preparation, but we've got all these things going on together. So that's kind of neat. Finally, I have some pancetta. Rather than using bacon, a little twist, I'm going to use some pancetta. It's fun to use prosciutto here, too. So just going to chop this up a little bit. This is nitrate-free pancetta. If you're able to find something like that, it's nice to have food that's not full of things like that, extra, maybe unnecessary chemicals or preservatives. But nitrate-free pancetta. We have all the ingredients ready to go. I'm going to start by taking a little bit of our vinaigrette and just spooning it onto the ingredients to provide just a touch of flavor. First on top my onion, on top my beef. This is just a little touch, the touch of flavor. On our tomatoes, our avocados. My lettuces are clean, my vinaigrette is made. Guests are coming over now, or the family's getting ready to come down for dinner, and we can put the dish together. Take the plate, got some salad greens here, and I want to drizzle the vinaigrette on here. Let's, in order to avoid overdressing the salad greens, let's just kind of shake them up a little bit as we drizzle the vinaigrette on here. We'll add the vinaigrette, and I think we'll put a twist of pepper on at this point, and a little bit of salt. And we'll just mix it carefully together, and we'll lay a mound out here. And keep in mind, any types of greens work great. Buttery lettuces, Boston lettuce, red oak leaf lettuce, radicchio. You could make it with arugula if you want, something with a little more spice, or watercress. But I've got a mixture working here. So here, my bed of greens, just sitting there in a little mound, very simple. We can go ahead and put the ingredients on, and start with my green onions, my scallions. Remember, there's no magic order here. Just lay these out along the base. I could use these raw. I like to use cooked green onion. There's nothing greater than a sweet onion flavor, and you get that sweetness through the natural caramelization, either through grilling or sautéing or roasting. Next, we're able to take some blue cheese. This is Stilton. Now, Iowa Maytag blue cheese is wonderful stuff. Gorgonzola would be great on a dish like this. If blue cheese is too strong for you, then I could recommend goat cheese. A lot of different types of cheese would be great. Could do this with cheddar if we want to. So we'll crumble some blue cheese, lay that on there. Go ahead and add a row of beef, a column of beef. Now you're getting to see just how quickly this goes together. A lot of times my young chefs in the kitchen will come up to me and, "Chef, how do I plate this dish?" or "How do I do this?" And I think really the important thing is you can make food look beautiful, but really food is going to look beautiful by itself as long as you respect it and let it speak for itself. Making a presentation in this fashion is just one way to do it. It's not, you don't want to overhandle the food, you don't want to manipulate the food. You want the food to speak for itself, but sometimes it is fun to give it that little extra twist when it's a special occasion or if you've got an extra few minutes, and you know, it's a fun way to do it. So we've got the onions, we've got the cheese, we've got the beef, we've got the tomato, avocado. It's all falling together right now. You see I'm literally just dropping these ingredients one after another right in a row, and it's really starting to shape up here. Let's just place these down. And now we're ready to go on with the eggs. Beautiful little quail eggs or chopped up hard-boiled egg if we're using larger eggs. Sometimes people use just egg whites to do this. I like both. I like the creaminess of the hard-boiled egg yolk. It's such a nice little flavor. So we've got our eggs on there. And our bacon, finished with that. Along the base here. Crumble it in there. And really, that's all there is to it. We can go back if we want to and add just a little bit more of the vinaigrette, spooning it around. I could actually put a bit more herb on here, some of the fresh chive that I have. Just give it a nice little herbiness, a twist of pepper, and I'm all set. And this is my little twist on a Cobb salad, a slight variation. It's not too different from the so-called classic. Classic cuisine exists for a reason. It's time-honored combinations of certain foodstuffs, but there's no reason why you can't just take a little turn along the way and give it your own thing. We use this kind of cheese. We use beef rather than chicken. I use this rather than that. That's what food is. Give it your own twist. I love that part of it, you know? I'm going to take a bite of this. If you'll forgive me for a moment, I got to see what this is about. And I get to eat it in the order that I want to. Got that puree? Yes, sir. Great. You know, a great alternative to a classic vinaigrette of oil and vinegar or oil and citrus is to include a little bit of a vegetable puree. I've got a wild mushroom puree that I'm simply going to spoon into the bowl. This is made by roasting off some wild mushrooms or sauteing them and just pureeing them into almost a paste-like consistency. And then I whisk into this some sherry wine vinegar or balsamic vinegar if I desire. Thin it out a little bit. And now I incorporate some oil, grapeseed oil or canola oil, something of a neutral flavor, so I can really let that mushroom flavor shine on through. I get this together. We can season with a touch of salt, a little bit of pepper. The nice thing about something like this is that not only is it lighter, I use less oil, and I can still get this great flavor, but the flavor is really going to come on through even more because I'm not going to be blocking the flavor with a lot of oil. So I have something that's light and delicate, but full of flavor, and it's also got this fantastic mouthfeel. I think I need just a pinch of salt. Remember, you got to taste. There's no substitute for tasting and retasting your food. So we have salt, pepper, a puree of mushroom, oil and vinegar. This thing just dissolves in your mouth with this satininess. That's one way to do it. Another method is to take something like roasted garlic, which is going to already, with its sweetness, give you this wonderful flavor. But once we puree it into the oil and get that beautiful texture working, that creaminess, that satininess, it's really very special. Dijon mustard is also very nice, a great friend of garlic's. Spoon that in, and we can mix in a little bit of olive oil, touch of rice wine vinegar, and we're ready to blend this up. I like to use one of these hand blenders. This helps me create a really, really nice emulsion or puree. I can almost get a mayonnaise-like consistency here, but without worrying about is it going to break or do I have to add the oil any faster, or, you know, people these days say don't eat raw eggs and all that. Well, let's not even get into that area. Let's just use this mixture of roasted garlic and mustard. So we have something that's perfectly safe. It's going to stay together. Let's check the seasoning now. touch of salt. Again, a little twist of pepper. We'll just whisk this right in here and check it out. It's got a great flavor. We'll check it out on the plate here and see what the body is like. Here's our mushroom puree vinaigrette. Now our garlic mustard vinaigrette. Very light, very delicate, great mouthfeel, very simple. Now that the vinaigrettes are made, I have two distinct salad preparations to feature each one. One will sort of work in an autumn, cooler weather sort of preparation, and the other one is more of a springtime, lighter version of a salad. Well, we've got the roasted garlic and mustard vinaigrette, and we're going to use the mushroom vinaigrette to start with. This has this earthy element that runs throughout. Earthiness in the form of the vinaigrette, certainly, but the elements that we're going to add to this salad also have their own elegant earthiness. It all comes together in a very complexly flavored dish, but a very simple dish. I'm holding a piece of salsify. Probably you think, well, I don't see salsify every day in the market. What is salsify? What am I going to do with that? This is one of those things that's really surprisingly simple to work with. Once you've tried salsify, you become addicted to it. It works very, very well with a lot of different flavors and ingredients, and I like to consider salsify one of the vegetables of royalty, if you will. And it's so easy to work with. We peel away the dusky exterior skin, revealing this milky white interior, almost like a piece of parsnip. In fact, it's reminiscent to parsnip, and we could use parsnip in place of this, but salsify needs to be peeled. We can cut away the ends, and what we're going to do at this point is poach this in milk, whole milk. Let it simmer for about 8 or 10 minutes. It'll just cook through. The milk will add a natural sweetness to the salsify. It will also help keep it a softer, whiter color. If we were to cook it in just water, it would end up being brown. It would still have a nice flavor, but we want to keep its sort of beautiful color as well. In this preparation, I also like to reiterate the mushroom theme. Aside from the puree, we'll add some whole pieces of mushroom. In this case, I have shiitake mushrooms that have been cleaned and merely marinated in a pickling broth. I've got rice wine vinegar, several pickling spices, let the mushrooms sit for several hours, and they just barely cook through because of the acid. The nice thing is we end up with mushrooms that kind of bring this interesting vinegar note, not too strong, to the dish. The vinegar is just enough to stand up to the mushrooms, and everything kind of melds together perfectly. I'll take a couple pieces of my salsify. We can cut this, sometimes fun to cut this on a bias or an angle, inch-long pieces, or as you wish. That's the key to everything. Whatever you like to do. You know, people think, well, if there's a picture of the dish, do I have to recreate the dish exactly as I see it? You know, sometimes when I'm doing a dish from a magazine or a cookbook and I see a photograph, I use that photograph as an inspiration to give me an idea as to how I might like to put that together. I have my salsify and my mushrooms in the bowl. We can add a lettuce element now. This is mosh. You can find this all over. You know, sometimes you can get this still attached to its roots with a little bit of the earth. This just means it's going to be super fresh. It's going to maintain its crispness. We'll just kind of trim off some of the leaves here and toss a few in. This has been rinsed already, so we don't have to worry about any grains of dirt or grit. Another thing I like to add whenever I'm preparing a salad that's got mushrooms and something like the salsify, these earthy things, a nut element will not only add great texture, but it'll add this complex richness, which is kind of nice. Walnuts are great. These are Missouri black walnuts. I like these because they're, I think, a little bit more interesting than everyday walnuts, and you can find these in a lot of specialty shops. I also like to add, maybe if I want to make this richer, something like bacon or pancetta. I've got some bacon that's been crisping up here. Just going to spoon a couple pieces in, and I can actually just add a little of that bacon fat if I want to. I don't need too much, but you know, this will I think lend a very, very nice richness to this preparation. Just want to toss everything, coat everything very delicately. We can season this. I don't want a lot of seasoning here. Pepper will be great. It'll cut into the salsify and the mushrooms, cut into the lettuce, cut into the bacon fat, and then a little bit of salt. I don't need a lot of salt because the bacon itself, of course, will have a little bit of salt present. So let me go ahead and just try this. You always want to make sure you're on the right track with the seasoning. You can always go back and add a little more. I think that's all right. You know what? I'm going to add a touch of this pickling brine, this pickling juice, and I think that'll tie everything together. Well, once we get this far, we're ready to put this together. Take my plate and take our vinaigrette here, blended mushroom vinaigrette. This is, what's nice about this is I could have easily tossed the ingredients in this. I don't want to really overly coat them. I'm just going to put a spoonful on the plate. This is going to provide the possibility for us to enjoy this salad in different ways. First, we'll take a bite of the ingredients, and then as we eat it, we'll be able to spoon up some of the vinaigrette. And it'll really take on, I think, a fascinating dimension if we eat the salad in that fashion. So we've got our pureed vinaigrette on the plate, ingredients on top of the plate, maybe another little twist of pepper to sort of round it out. I might go ahead and add a couple of, these are snow pea sprouts. This is a sort of fun, whimsical ingredient to add. More crunch, another cleansing note, gives us a little bit of color. Just strew a few pieces about. Maybe some herbs like marjoram, a couple pieces of these. You know, marjoram's a great autumn herb. It's got this interesting pepperiness to it. And we're basically there with that salad. I could go back if I want and spoon just a little bit of this bacon fat around, just give it a little bit more richness. That's kind of fun. I like richness in a dish when it's under control, controlled richness. What does that mean? Well, you can use fat, you can use different notes, but if you do it in a way where you control the flavor, you just really do something even more special. You take it up even further. Well, here we have an artichoke. I'm going to cut this down. This has been poached in a chicken stock, some vegetables, cooked until it's just nice and soft. I love artichoke with shellfish, so we're also going to use a few pieces of shrimp here. Get the artichoke in the bowl. These shrimp have been poached off. And again, we can cut these into bite-sized pieces. I could grill the shrimp if I want to and add them warm to the salad. That's a nice touch. I could actually use chicken. Maybe I don't want to use shrimp. Maybe a lot of people don't like shellfish or they're allergic to shellfish, so we could use chicken as well. But shrimp or lobster will be great with the artichoke. And here's something that you don't see every day, but I'm surprised we're not using this more. This is a sunchoke. These are really easy to work with. Sometimes people are scared of an ingredient if they've never seen it, they don't know what to do. I've merely peeled the skin away, and I'm going to cut this in half, slice it into little discs, if you will, or thin slices. I can use this raw or barely cooked. You don't have to cook it too much. This adds a really, really nice, crunchy, clean vegetable flavor, not unlike water chestnuts, something like that. Jerusalem artichokes, or sunchokes as they're sometimes known, are very, very popular in Europe. I think we'll see them more in the United States. We have some haricots verts. These are the French green beans. These are very nice. And we can add some herbs. Tarragon, a great friend of shellfish and artichokes. Remember to chop up the herb at the last possible moment. We want to release that explosive, volatile perfume, that aroma, that oil that's in the herb at the very end. If we cut this up too far in advance, we'll end up dissipating that wonderful flavor, and we don't want to do that. So I have everything here. Unlike the last salad where I spooned the vinaigrette on the plate, I think this one we're going to delicately coat everything with the vinaigrette. So remember, we've got the flavor of the mustard, which provides a little bit of heat cutting into the shellfish, the garlic, which provides that body, that texture, that elegant pungency. I'm tossing the ingredients as I drizzle the vinaigrette in because I don't want to oversaturate them. So I've got everything here. Now, seasoning again. We want to be careful because the vinaigrette itself has seasoning already and a little bit of salt and pepper. And again, it's essential to taste, make sure we're on the right track. I think we can handle a little more pepper. And we're ready to plate our dish. So why don't we go ahead and just place a mound of the ingredients right in the center. And that's easy enough to do. This is, you know, we could just as easily put this on a bed of lettuce, but in this case, I think we want to feature the ingredients more. Salads don't necessarily have to be made up of heaping mounds of lettuce. as you can see by this preparation. And keep in mind, presentations are, as you like to do it. Maybe you like to emphasize more of a certain vegetable or more of the fish, more of the shellfish. Well, that's entirely up to you, and that's the beauty of the food itself. The way to plate a dish is to simply allow the food to speak for itself. I could serve this as it is, or maybe I could add something kind of fun. These are some small lettuce pieces. They're called micro lettuces. You can find these all over now. I see these in gourmet stores. These add a cleansing element. Maybe a final touch, I've gone to the trouble to cook my shrimp. I was lucky enough to find shrimp still in the shells, so I saved the shells, sauteed them until they became bright red, and added a little bit of tomato and then some oil, and took that off the heat, crunched it up, let it sit for a couple days, and once I strained it, I ended up with shrimp oil or shellfish oil. I can go ahead and drizzle a little bit of that on the plate. That is only going to serve to echo that shellfish flavor, which is so nice in the shrimp. Another twist of pepper, and I have our dish. That's fun. This could easily be served in a big portion on the table. Spoon off what you want. That's what I like about salads like this. We serve them as individual dishes, or maybe we serve them larger, and people can help themselves to as much as they want to take, and it's easier to do it that way if you're serving a larger group of people. So keep in mind, food is as flexible as you want it to be. Individual plates, family-style platters, as you wish. It's no problem. The only thing missing from this preparation right now is a glass of wine. Maybe a Riesling or a Gewürztraminer, which has a little bit of natural spice to it, which will tie these flavors together, and I think we'd be in business. If you don't mind, I'm going to take a little bite. And I should add, thanks for joining us today on the Kitchen Sessions. I look forward to seeing you next time.